and thank you for joining me on this worldwide transmission. I am Dale Willis, reporting for Infowars.com, coming at you from FEMA Region 8 here in Denver, Colorado. Now, as a trained chef, I usually bring you the subject of food and health freedom, but over the past year, there's been a particular subject that has really been bugging me. And I wrote an article titled, "Why Most Americans Do Not Support the Troops." Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course people support the troops. You know, we put bumper stickers. There's bumper stickers all over people's cars, those yellow bumper stickers. And here in Colorado, you can actually get a permanent, license plate that has it, support the troops on it. Well, we support the troops and we don't. We've come to believe in this country that if you slap a bumper sticker or a ribbon on your car, that you're supporting the troops, or maybe if you send a care package, you're supporting the troops. Well, after all, doesn't just the sound of someone saying, "God bless our troops," make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside and feel better about yourself? I've decided that I don't believe that most Americans do because of the points that I'm going to lay out in this video here today. I'm not saying that most of us actually carry out these atrocities, but in a way, we are guilty of these crimes by allowing them to happen through our tax dollars and just maybe ignorance about the issues. And we have a short segment here, but in order to get through all these, I'm going to fly through these, but you can see more detail in the article at Infowars.com that I have written. One is that we do not support the troops here in America because we allow our troops to be deployed on multiple tours. Now, the increase of suicides and as we've seen recently, these murderous rampages that are going on, these are evidence of our troops being used up by and at no cost to Washington. The United States Army's own study reveals that, quote, a higher rate of soldiers are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, they also call that PTSD, after only their second deployment. And we know that a lot of troops right now are on their fourth and fifth and sixth and even more tours that they've gone on. So you can only imagine the psychological issues that they might have from that. Now, another point that I make out in my article, I have it as number 2, and it's allowing the death benefits of our troops to be stolen. Now, Alex Jones talks about this quite often on his daily radio show here at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv, but basically, this was done through a deal that was signed in 1995 with the Department of Defense and insurance companies. That's right, according to an article that I found titled, "Insurance Companies Shamelessly Profit at the Expense of the Family Members of Deceased Military Personnel." That's a long article title, but it's by a military law attorney back in 2010. He published that. And there's a couple of quotes from this that I want to point out in this article, and it says this: Prudential Financial Incorporated is a government contractor handling term life insurance policies for military personnel. It is called Service Member Group Life Insurance. When a service members die, though, the companies do not pay benefits to the intended beneficiaries of the policy. Instead, these insurance companies pay these widows and their children, or these parents, in a manner that appears to be both deceptive and greedy. Now, the article goes on to say, though the survivors receive a small amount of interest on the accounts, it's only a fraction of the interest that Prudential earns. It goes on to say that, a beneficiary might get about 0.5% on their earning, whereas the company could get nearly 5%. So in a way that the insurance companies are improperly informing these surviving family members that about the full money potential that this policy might have. And so in a way they are stealing from our dead and our dead troops. So call me crazy, but we should honor those that have fought and died for this country, not steal from them. Now, that's whether you agree with the wars or not. And number 3 number 3rd point that I make out in the article, allowing our troops and enemies, quote enemies, to be exposed to depleted uranium. Now, this is a huge one, and I have had to do a lot of research, but there's extensive evidence of the numerous health effects from the U.S. military's use of depleted uranium in past and present wars. Dr. Doug Rockey, the preeminent expert on depleted uranium, also suffers directly from the consequences of this what he calls the, quote, perfect dirty bomb in military actions. There is too much information on this subject for me to get into in this video or this article that I've written, but there's a great documentary that you might have already seen called Beyond Treason, and it describes the form of weapon system. You can see the pictures of it, you can see it in action, and also, of course, Dr. Doug Rocky being interviewed, and of course he is a frequent guest on Alex Jones' show. But also, if you do a research on the deformities caused by depleted uranium in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I will warn you that a lot of these pictures are extremely graphic, and some of them it doesn't even look like a real person. It's quite disturbing. But if you see those and look that up, you will see why I point this out as a reason I believe the American people do not support the troops. The use of this illegal weapon is just one atrocity which is being done in our name. It's us. We are paying for this to be done, and it's done in the name of America and in the name of freedom. If you wrap anything in the flag these days, we just accept it. It equals a death sentence to all of those that are exposed to it, and that's on both sides. You see that the Iraqis and Afghanistanis and others that have suffered from this, and future generations will suffer from this as well. Now, while at the same time, all we do is send our military personnel care packages and put stickers on our car that say support the troops or God bless the troops, etc. Now, I'm not saying those are bad things or that we are bad for doing those, but we need to do more than that, and I want you to know that that's not supporting the troops if you do that and do that alone, while allowing all of these points that I'm laying out here to go on. To our government, to our own U.S. government, the troops are expendable. They are being used up in more ways than just being put on the front lines of war, and illegal wars, I might add, and endless wars, I might add. Moving right along, in conclusion here, if Americans really supported the troops, they would stop spending an average of 35 hours per week watching TV shows like the game shows and reality shows that are out there, and then also the sports that so many people are addicted to. And if they would stop that, just cut those hours down on TV and begin researching and becoming involved politically. Our addiction to entertainment is a form of modern day bread and circus. I understand that, Dancing with the Stars and American Idol are so important, and you feel left out at work if you don't know who's winning right now or who's cheating on who or whatever your show you're talking about. But the amount of danger which we expose our youth in the name of freedom and fighting terror is unnecessary. If the average American public would just look into what is really going on, the landscape of war in the world would look much different. Instead, we listen to someone like President George W. Bush, who said after 9/11, quote, "You are either with us or with the terrorists." And we go on and say, I guess we better go get Al Qaeda because we're not against America. So he gave us, we had to choose the lesser of two evils there. But in closing, again, I want to just say, if we were after Bin Laden and he's supposedly dead, which I believe he was been dead for a long time now, and was dead a long time ago, then let's bring the troops home instead of trying to start more trouble in other countries. America, if you believe in the terror threat that our government and mainstream media describes, you cannot deny, especially after looking at the points that I've pointed out here, you cannot deny that we have done and are continuing to do our troops a great disservice by allowing the current politics of war to continue. Each day we put thousands of Americans at risk using our tax dollars for a threat that doesn't really exist. I am calling on all that read this article and are watching this video to break your trance, break your conditioning, and take fight in the info war for true freedom and liberty in this country and around the world. Thank you for joining us on this Infowars.com worldwide broadcast. I'm Dale Willis reporting for Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Thank you for joining me.